What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. You know, in the last video we got the Loadstar going and we're excited about that, but we were having that issue of the pressure escaping past the seal. So I'm taking kind of a DIY approach to this. I've done a few already, but if you look in here, you can see this black, like all the black dots and specks. That is either carbon buildup or some type of material that is there, which is not allowing the crush washer to seat properly, and so it's allowing it's allowing the pressure to escape through and then push up through the dust cover. And so instead of buying the tool to do this, which is like a $40 tool, and I'll probably only be doing this once, and then who knows the next time that I'll be doing this, maybe when we rebuild the engine, which is hopefully never. So I didn't want to spend $40 on a tool that I'd use for a few minutes and then be done with it. So I kind of took a DIY approach, if I can find it. Here it is. So I just got some sandpaper and I glued it to the end of this bolt. And if you stick it over here, so I just stick it down in there, and when I made it, I made sure to measure, traced around the copper washer. Just kind of move it around, twist her up. As you can see, there's material there. So you know we are pulling stuff out of it. And then if we take our camera and put her in, like so, you see that there isn't as much carbon buildup and material down there. So I've just been doing that a few times until it is shiny all the way around, and putting a new washer on and dropping in the injector and see if that works. And if this doesn't work, then yes, I'll buy the cutting tool and redo it, but I don't think there's that much material there, so I don't think we have to get too crazy with it. So I'm gonna try this, start it up, and see if it made a difference. But I have 4 more to do, and then we can put the lines back on and see if it worked.
Round 2?
Yep. All right, so I got all the hard lines back on. Ryan's out here so he can crack open lines, and we need to bleed the lines before it'll fire up. If you've never done that before, you pretty much open the lines and then that allows the air to escape the system until it gets to the injector, and then you tighten it down. And so you have to do that with each line. because obviously if it's just pushing air, it's not going to fire. So usually takes a bit of cranking over. Hopefully the battery's good. But yeah, we'll see if she's going to fire. You ready?
Make sure she's in neutral. Don't feel like
Yep. What was it?
I don't know. Let's just close these up.
Well, she should fire on this one. Oh yeah. Are they all tightened at this point? Sounds so good. Turn the pump off. Well, I think that was good. I don't think any of them were leaking.
Nope.
So it worked. Took a few hours, but it was worth it. Sweet. Well, now we know that the engine's gonna run, so we can finish buttoning up everything else on here, put it together, and go for a cruise. So let's get to work on that. Well guys, we are out here trying to get this truck drivable. Now that the truck's running, we can now put it back together and go for that test drive. So in order to do that, I cut off kind of like here. Were these kind of nubs. I think they were bolt hole nubs. So I was cutting them off to make room, and this one I must have just cut too much, so I need to re-weld that hole. And then Ryan is working on the kill cable. We don't want to, like, there's a way you can mount it on either side of the engine. You can just move this lever to the other side and then bolt it up there. Obviously it's a little tight on the other side, so we're trying to figure out how to make it work. So that is Ryan's little puzzle tonight. So we need to do that, and then what else was over here? Oh, figure out a spring for the throttle, and then I already tightened the turbo compressor just because we rotated it. It was up more. It was up here, so we rotated it down just to make room for the intercooler piping here. Need to finish hooking up the temp sensor gauge, but other than that, oh, and then I want to throw in a little pressure gauge so we can have an idea of what fuel pressure we're at. That way we know we're not, really I'm just worried that we're starving the pump of fuel, because I think people said that it needs like 35 psi to have a continuous supply of fuel, keep it happy. So we want to make sure that we at least have that for now. But yeah, other than that, just need to do that and then throw the fenders back on, and I think we're good to go. So we're gonna hopefully get that knocked out tonight so that we can drive tomorrow. All right, so William stopped by. I don't know if I remember, those who follow me on Instagram, I've showed his, he does sled pulling tractors, and he has it's a 1066
with a DT360.
436, that's right. So he has a 436, which is a sibling to the 360 and the 466 and all that. And it makes a lot of power. It's pretty cool. So he's here, and he's actually, because remember our little mishap where we broke our pin and de-timed our injection pump. He actually has a mechanical injection timer where he can hook it up and we can see where it's at, because we just kind of eyeballed it back to where we think it was, and it started up good, and so I know we're at least close enough to where she'll run, but we do want to kind of see where she is, and then yeah, maybe adjust it. I don't know, we'll see where she's at, and yeah, at least peace of mind of where we're at, a good base map. So yeah, this is kind of cool. I've never seen this done before. He just has, this hooks up to the injection line here and then grounds out obviously, and then we should be able to use a timing light and see where we're at on the crank. So pretty cool. All right, so we're gonna kind of explain how this is all working. We already ran it, and it's at like 26 degrees, which is obviously a little spicier than we thought it would be. But I think we might run it, I don't know, just see how it feels. Because like it starts up nice, surprisingly how advanced it is. So go ahead. So I don't know if you guys could see that really, but with his gun he can advance it and so when he had it set, like he can adjust it, so when he had it adjusted down so that the timing was at 0, it was showing 23 advanced on his gun. So actually we're at 23 degrees, which isn't as spicy as we thought, which is honestly, that might, yeah, I think we should probably just like drive it, and worst case scenario we're like, yeah, this sucks or this is awesome. Another thing that we need to do is, he said we need to install a coolant or a exhaust temp gauge. That way, and that will also tell us kind of how hard our turbo is, and kind of, because the thing with diesels, you don't want your exhaust to get too out of control. And so we're going to install that, but I think we're just going to drive it and see what it feels like and kind of see where we go from there. silencer just in case.
Well,
See if she moves. Well, she should move. It's not like we changed any of the drivetrain. As long as it runs, it'll move. There we go. Dirty, but she's out of the shop finally. A little more black smoke. Well,
yeah.
I think we ran out of fuel, boys.
Matt!
Yeah, there's some in there. I don't know if there's enough.
I wonder if our timing
Jumped or them.
I'm gonna try it.
Try going. Come on, starter. It could be low on fuel, so when we take off, it pushes to the back of the tank. Well, I think this is just going to become a new tradition of every first test drive that I go on, I run out of fuel.
Just get too excited.
Yeah.
Should we put kerosene in it?
But like, we do think that it's quicker, but I think to get the full potential we'll definitely need a turbo, which obviously we were already planning on that. But and you can tell by the stacks, a little more black up top, so it's pushing a little more fuel.
Like I can feel the air. Like.
Well, hopefully she starts.
Yeah, you can tell just that.
I'm sure there's still some air bubbles in it. Give me like a... Well, we made it back. Overall, good. Obviously ran out of fuel, so that's not good. But and it wasn't enough to where it ran out of fuel to where we had to reprime and everything. It started right up. I think this tank, when we take off, there wasn't enough fuel, so it would just slosh in the back. So I don't know if I should add baffling or that, or just make sure it's full all the time. And then I don't know, we don't know if it's running perfectly yet. We still need to fine tune the fuel pressure and all that. We don't know what it's at. I need to get a gauge to hook up to the regulator, and then we can fine tune it. But other than that, I feel like everything went pretty smooth. It is noticeably faster, which is good, and that's without the turbo upgrade. So we're already happy there. At first we were kind of worried, like, this doesn't feel that faster, but once you like kind of stopped and just got on it, like doing a good pull, you're like, oh yeah, that thing. And even looking from the outside, it's like, yeah, that thing's getting up to speed a whole lot faster than it was. So very happy about that. So overall, very happy. Feels good to have it back together finally. Still some fine tuning to do. Need to rehook the lights up and all that, but we can slowly work on that. I just wanted to pump this out and get it back on the road so that it's drivable again. It sat for a year. It's hard to believe that it sat for a year. But I just got like a memory came up of when we got the pump, and I'm like, geez, that means the truck's been taken apart for that long already. So it is back together though, and hopefully it stays back together. We won't have to take it apart again. So that's where I'm gonna end this one. Glad to get it going. Can only go up from here. So thank you guys. Catch you on the next one.